Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Christal. Today, I am super excited to have a special guest. I mentioned to you guys that I was doing a series of women in real estate, and so it is my honor to have Vandana Bhalla here with me today. I'm going to read a little bit about her, and then we're going to have a conversation. But hey, Vandana.
Hi, how are you? I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this chat and all of the wisdom you're going to drop. Okay. All right, everyone. So Vonda, she's a corporate broker of Signature Real Estate Group, and she's certified as a minority-owned business through the National Association of Women in Real Estate Business. She is committed to providing her agents with efficient systems, leadership, training, and fostering a high-energy motivational atmosphere. The success of her agents is her success, and nothing makes her happier than to see her team succeed. She takes her responsibility as a broker seriously and has become one of the best trained in the business. She not only graduated from California State University, Long Beach, with a master's in education, but has also earned many certifications and designations, including that of realtor, which is different than real estate agent. Vandana volunteers in her children's school, Habitat for Humanity, Boys and Girls Club, and if I shared everything that Vandana does, that would just be the podcast. Like we wouldn't even have time to talk. But with that introduction, welcome. Please share with the audience a little bit about yourself, maybe anything that I missed that you want to share, and tell us how you got into real estate and what your business looks like today.
Oh, wow. Okay. So as you mentioned, I have a master's in education. I actually taught elementary school for about 3 years. And it was then I had decided, I really wanted to be an attorney. I don't know if you've seen the show, Special Victims Unit, Law and Order.
I have,
Okay.
yes.
So I've been fascinated with that show since I was a little girl. It was just one of those things where I was like, I really want to be a prosecutor. I want to be an attorney. And so that was sort of a dream of mine. And somebody along the way told me that I wasn't smart enough. And then when I was teaching elementary school, I decided that I really, really wanted to try it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went and got a paralegal certificate. I worked at the DA's office as a paralegal assistant. And then I went and took the LSAT, and sure enough, guess what? I was smart enough. Not only did I get a pretty decent enough score in the LSAT, but I went to law school in San Diego at California Western School of Law. I did that for a year before I got married and followed my now ex-husband, or starter husband, whatever you want to call him, to Las Vegas. And when I did that, I was going to go to law school at UNLV Boyd. But as I was waiting for that to happen, we were looking at a piece of parcel that we really wanted to purchase, and our real estate agent didn't understand or didn't really get that, past when I moved here in 2003, there was, the city ended at Ann Road.
Yes.
Right. And there was nothing past Ann Road, and the property that we wanted was about 2.5 miles past Ann Road. And we had, looked at all of the maps and knew that there was going to be a ton of growth that was going to happen there. Sure enough, we know that growth is crazy right now. Like when you go to Durango and past that whole area. So anyway, so it's the one thing that I will give him credit for. Because I was not motivated to go get my real estate license, because I was like, I'm going to law school. Like, I don't need my real estate license. And I went and got my real estate license and just have not looked back since. So 2003, if anybody remembers, the market was nuts. I mean, you could throw a dart at the map of Las Vegas, and no matter where it landed, it was going to double or triple in value. And that was just the marketplace.
Yeah.
And I knew a lot of people in California. Between the two of us, we had about 1,100 people at our wedding. And
oh my goodness, did you really?
Yeah. So we, contacted as many of them as we knew and said, hey, by the way, she's got a real estate license. Let's go do something. And I've just been, from that moment, it's just been go, go, go. And so that, like, when you look at my bio, I've done just about everything. Even when the high rise market was pretty exciting in 2007, I got into the high rise market because values stopped doubling and tripling in 2007, 2008. And
Yes.
then 2010, I did REOs. I worked for HUD as a local listing broker, and I listed property for them. So I've done a little bit of REO. I've done a little bit of, I started commercial. That was that piece of parcel. I started commercial, moved into residential, went into high rise, got into the REO market. I'm in luxury now. It's just, so it's been interesting
Yeah.
through the years. So I've been doing it now for 20, not 20, I lie, 17 years. I just found out that even though I applied for my license in 2003, I didn't actually get it till 2004, which was like a heartbreak for me because I'm like, oh my God, that's one less year than I thought it was. So.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so did you got licensed here in Nevada or when did you get licensed in California?
So in California, gosh, I can't even remember what year that was, but maybe 2010, 2011 or something. Yeah, I'm if I could think back. But it was several years later, and we had opened up an office in California, and I was like, hey, my family lives out there. Why not? Right. I mean, if they're going to use a real estate agent, it might as well be me. And
Yeah.
so I got my license specifically for family. And then, of course, that's turned into, other things. So,
Yes. Okay. So that's so
yeah.
interesting too that you started with commercial, right? Because
Yeah.
I feel like most realtors do the other way. So that is so unique. Okay, tell me a little bit about what your business looks like now. What's the
Oh
size
boy.
of the team? What does that look like as you run it today?
So I've had ups and downs on the team. For many years, I held at about 10 or 11 because I was like, that's it. That's my capacity. I can't handle anymore. That's too much.
Yeah.
Well, as the years have gone by, I've come to realize that I can actually take on about 19 to 20 agents at a time, of which maybe 5 or 6 of them are brand new agents that require a lot of hand holding through their first 5, 10 transactions.
Yeah.
And so I have now I have a team of 20. I am a coach. And so I teach several agents on real estate practices, how to do real estate ethically, how to do it correctly, how to do it without, breaking the law and whatnot. I'm a CE instructor as well. I teach locally, I teach nationally. And I'm looking to teach internationally this year. So that's sort of one of the goals that I've got. I mean, it's taken me a long time. For the longest time, I was like, I'm not good enough, but guess what? I am.
You
And
are,
so
yeah, like the LSAT, right?
I just have to get out of my own way, right?
Yes, yes.
So I've got, like I said, I've got about 20 agents on the team, including myself. I am a coach. I've got 14 clients right now, looking to make that 20. I've got CE instruction on my, on my things to do. In fact, today I'll be teaching a CE class to a little over 200 people for the association, which I'm really excited and a little bit nervous about because that's a lot of people, right?
Yeah,
And
yes.
some of them are people who are really great instructors, and I'm like, what are they gonna think? It'll be fine. I've got on great heels today. Nobody's gonna pay attention to what I'm saying.
Right, exactly. Focus on the heels.
Focus on the shoes.
Oh,
Yeah. So I'm trying to think what else. I am a business broker now. I do quite a bit of commercial as well.
okay.
Back into the vacant land, surprisingly, doing a lot of vacant land sales. Working on luxury. I've got an agent on my team that focuses specifically on that. So her and I are working very closely together on that. I'm trying to think what else. That's it. That's all I got.
That's good though. That is quite a list. And then
no, I lied. I'm also a property manager.
yes, okay, for those of you listening to the podcast or watching this on YouTube, that is one of the ways that Vandana and I are connected. And so how could we both forget that? Vandana used to be our property manager when we had that rental, which we no longer have.
Some days I forget that I'm a property manager, or I want to forget that I'm a property manager.
Want to.
It is probably one of the hardest things that we do in real estate. There's just so many rules and laws that we have to pay attention to. And then, the tenants are never happy because we represent the landlords and we're always, doing that. But I sit on, I think one of the values that I bring to the property management community within real estate industry is that I sit on a committee called the legislative management team every 2 years. And so we have legislative sessions every 2 years that come about. And during those legislative sessions, I take a stack of bills literally a stack of bills, and I review them on Wednesday night with a bottle of wine. I don't even bother with a glass. Bottle of wine, stack of bills, and I review each of them and make highlights and notes about how that particular bill is going to affect real estate, how it's going to affect landlord rights, how it's going to affect homeowner rights, how it's going to affect property management as a whole, within the real estate industry. And so, and I provide feedback to our lobbying team so that they can actually go back and fight for landlord rights. So that's one of like my favorite things that I do within the industry. So,
it's interesting you mentioned that, because I almost envisioned like that piece of yourself that almost became like an official attorney, right? That's almost like putting those skills to work in that moment. Right.
And I think that's why I like it so much, is it gives me an opportunity to do that. I mean, yes, I'm not a prosecutor putting away bad guys, but close enough.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So you had mentioned something earlier that perked my ears, that leads me to my next question, when you were telling us that you had 1,100 people at your wedding. But one thing that I thought was really cool is you reached out to those people when you got your real estate license, because relationships is one of our things here on this show, right? And I think that is such a beautiful way to use like the relationships that you have, just to at least let them know what you're doing and that you can help. So what are some of the lessons like you have learned about creating and keeping healthy relationships, and kind of speak to that within the industry, as well as like your friendships and like, your partners, your personal relationships, that type of thing? What have you learned over the years?
So this is an interesting question, because I went through a program through the Vegas Chamber called Leadership Las Vegas, and in it they give you this pie chart, and in the pie chart you're supposed to designate like what things you do throughout the day, and how that pie chart, like how well-rounded you are. So like I have morning routines, and so I'm going to start with that really quickly. And so my morning routines include affirmations, they include gratitude, they include working out, they include devotions. So I take a mix of everything. So spiritually, financially, relationally, and spiritually, and I put it all together. Did I already say that?
Yeah, you're good though.
Okay. So I was like, so I put that, and I read every single day, and I'm always listening to, different podcasts and YouTubes to try to be a better agent, coach, broker, team leader, all of that. And so so I had this pie chart, and I started, putting it together, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, I feel like I'm pretty well-rounded. This is wonderful. So I get back really proud of myself, and I show it to the person who's leading sort of our facilitating our life journey group. And he was like, that's wonderful. He's like, so where in here do you have time for like a boyfriend?
Yeah.
And I went, I'm sorry, what?
Excuse me, who?
I don't understand the question. Was that the assignment? Because I didn't get that. So it's funny because that was in 2016, and I had to relook because my life was all about my children and my work. Like that was it. It was children and work, and of course my clients, right? And as part of the coaching that I do with my agents, we always talk about how important relationships are, right? And relationships with your clients are extremely important. Working your SOI, your sphere of influence, right? Making sure that you bring value, and that because it's all about the experience, right? I mean, a lot of people, like, let's be honest, you can go and sell a house if you really wanted to all by yourself. Everything's available online. There's how-to videos, there's YouTube videos, there's, you can do it without ever hiring a real estate agent, right?
Yeah.
But do you want to? Probably not. And so for us, the relationship on how the experience is going to be through that process, right? Getting you through that entire process from beginning to end, and making it as easy for you as convenient to sell your property or to go buy a property, staying in touch, communicating, right? Letting you know that, hey, we've got this handled for you. That's where I think our business really is relevant in selling and helping people buy real estate, because without that, I mean, you can go do it on your own.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. You can manage your own property, but isn't it nice to know that someone's taking care of it, taking care of your property better than you can, and dealing with the tenant or the drama or the repairs or the home warranty, which, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's important. The relationships with your clients. And then I found a lot of time with where, and I think I've told you this before, for many years while my children were super young, now they don't care because they're in their teens.
Mm-hmm.
But they had a lot of, like, I spent a lot of time with them when we got home from school. It was all about homework and hanging
Yeah.
out and, and getting them a little bit more engaged. So we do what we call the 3-1, which is like the, 3 things you're grateful for today and the one thing
I
that you're
love that.
looking and one thing you're looking forward to tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do that at dinner time, like no phones on the dinner table, right? Myself included. Like
Yeah.
that was a very conscious decision for me to make. And then relationship, I mean, I'm still single,
Mm-hmm.
so there's that, but I do make a lot of time for my friends.
Yeah.
I build that into my calendar. If you see my calendar, it's a little nuts, but friends
Mm-hmm.
take priority. They're red, right? So they are in
Wow.
priority mode. And if I was in a relationship, that would also be a priority
Yes.
color. And so everything else, and you have to, right? You have to learn to manage your calendar. You have to learn in this business that there are some things that are going to be priority and some
Mhm.
things that can wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um, and so that was a really big, like in the beginning, I was working all the time, like all the
Mhm.
time. And I had to really reconsider what my priorities were. And I built that into my calendar. And now my business doesn't work me. I decide when I'm working. I go on vacations, I take time off, I work from, other places. I don't That's the one thing, the benefit of my business is that I don't have to be here all the time. I can handle a lot of stuff remotely. So
Yes. Yeah. No, that is so good. And I love what you shared there, like the intentionality of it all. And thank you so much for sharing a little bit about like your morning routine. That was really cool to hear. And what I hear in everything that you said is just there is intention with it all and making the relationships that are most important to you a priority. And I think sometimes in this industry in particular, because it is 24/7, like, right, you guys don't have like, like these set off days, right? People are buying and selling homes all the time. And so I think that is just really beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing that.
absolutely.
Something else that I want to ask, especially since you are so involved with associations and councils and that type of thing, is there anything like in regards to resources that you would like to see, even like brokerage firms offering their agents, their realtors in regards to support, like with their personal lives and helping them kind of manage? What do you see there?
I think for real estate agents, time management, especially when you're a brand new agent, like it's just not a thing. People don't talk about it enough. And even like me personally, I
Mhm.
didn't learn to manage my time until I was well into my, 10 years, 12 years
Wow.
in the industry. Like it took a hot minute.
Wow.
And so I think that's a big deal, is
Mhm.
for organizations to offer that to
Yeah.
agents. The other thing I think is important is that a lot of agents come into this business and they get overwhelmed. They don't understand how to actually do real estate. And so brokerages say, well, if you've got a pre-license, if you've done your pre-licensing, you've done your post-licensing, you should know, you should be able to get out there and do it.
Mhm.
And so we have, here at Signature, we've actually decided, and it was a conscious decision that we made about a year ago, where we really wanted to have agents that were doing the real estate business correctly, that
Mhm.
were not winging it, because we
Mhm.
wanted to be better than most of the other agents. And so even though we are a 100% company, agents who are brand new into the business will never won't be in that 100% category, because we are actually putting them with mentee or mentors now. And so
Very
those mentors,
nice.
yeah, so those mentors are going to help them walk, essentially a coach is going to help
Mhm.
walk them through the process of selling real estate, of managing their time, of putting together some morning routines. And so really being more well-rounded than just
Mhm.
real estate, because we tend to forget. I mean, there are times I've had agents where they've called me at 10 o'clock at night and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, yes,
Yes.
I'll answer your call, and yes, I'll answer whatever issue you may have, but why aren't you spending time with your family?
Mhm.
Right. And there is nothing that's an emergency at 10 o'clock that can't be handled at 9 a.m. the next morning. You have to remember that. And so even though I'll answer their question, I'll also remind them that no matter what I do right now, right, your client is going to be okay if you get an answer to them when we actually, during normal business hours at 9 a.m. or whatever, even 8 a.m. if that's what you choose to do. So I think those are some of the important things that a lot of realtors don't get when they first get in the business.
Yeah, no, that's so good. And I love the mentor mentee program. I think that is very unique. And maybe after hearing this, maybe some other brokerages may steal that idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple more questions and then we'll let you go because I know you got a busy schedule today. Tell me a little bit, like, when we think about changing, like, have you ever changed anything about the way you do business because you wanted to show up differently, like in an important relationship?
All the time. All the time.
Okay.
And so it is, when I look at my business as a whole, I mean, from when I first started to where I'm at today, right? And I think a lot of it has to do with, especially when it comes to the important relationships, because right now the most important relationship for me are my children, right? I've got one in high school, one in middle school. I mean, they're about to, and I know I need to stop saying they're about to leave me, but they're about to leave me.
Yeah.
And I still have 4 and 5 years left, but they're about to leave me. And that's not enough time. I mean, I can't even, I had a friend who just had a baby and I'm holding the baby and I'm like, oh my God, my children were this little 15 years ago, right? Or 12 years ago. And now they're these grown men that are taller than I am, have deep voices, right? And so that to me is a very important relationship. And so because of that, it is like, initially when I first started real estate, I didn't have children. I just had a husband at the time and I worked all the time. He worked all the time. We just worked all the time. And then I had children. I went through, I had my divorce, and now being a single mother, like it wasn't what I wanted to do for my kids, right? I wanted to be present. I wanted them to be, because I think I can teach them valuable lessons about life. And we spent a lot of time talking about big events, things that happen, right? I mean, we've had COVID, we've had, elections that have been extremely difficult for people to deal with. We've had, racial issues that I think that we needed to address. And so I have very powerful conversations with my kids about that. And so, yes, it means that my real estate business has to take, because the last thing I want to do is say, you can't be on the phone, but I can.
Right. You're leading by example. Yes.
Right. And so my real estate business has changed significantly because of, those priorities. And so there are times where I'm off limits and people know that that's a thing, and they'll just have to wait until I'm not off limits. Right. So that's kind of a big deal. That's how that's changed. Otherwise, like, I think I stay pretty consistent. I come into the office, I'm always dressed professionally. I maintain availability for the agents on my team as well as the agents in the company. Cause not only do I have the agents on my team, but I handle compliance for the company. We handle community outreach. I'm in charge of community outreach for the company. I'm in charge of, there's quite a few other things of the education department. So, so I do have other tasks that I have to get to. I just plan it around, like I said, the priorities in my life, which are those 2 kids and my friends and, people who matter.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's such a beautiful way to end this call. So thank you so much for just sharing everything. And I know that people will be inspired and get some great tips and ideas by how you have kind of set up the way that you run your life, and the success that you have attained over the years. Any parting words or how people can connect with you if they want to find you?
Yeah. So they can connect with me. I'm pretty much, if you can put in my name and put Las Vegas next to it. So Vandana, it's Vandana, and you put Las Vegas, you will find me. I mean, I am Googleable. Is that a word? I am.
That is very true. You are.
So I'm available, text, phone call, email, as well as on my website at realtorvandana.com. They can check me out on IG at realtorvandana. I have a YouTube channel that's realtorvandana.tv, and my website at realtorvandana.com. Everything's Realtor Vandana. So if you need to find me, Realtor Vandana is the way to go.
Keep it simple. I love it. Well, Vandana, thank you so much for today. I love this chat with you. And for everyone listening, I'm so happy that you took time to listen to today's show. And until next time, take care.
Thanks so much for inviting me. Bye.